Hello and welcome back to Talkin Pitch Side. I'm your host PJ with my co-host Tony. As always, we are back, all the way back. We've been kind of semi-back a couple games this past week, but we have a full MLS slate to preview for you guys on this Wednesday midweek. We're gonna have a lot of those too because of the World Cup. Got to catch up. I said it to Tony in the pre-show. I can't believe it's only game week 16. It feels like it should be
Yeah.
so much farther than that. So we've got a lot of games to play and not a lot of time. So you're going to see these midweeks pop up here and there. Before we get into that, we've got a couple things we want to cover. One of which, of course, congratulations to Spain on winning the World Cup, taking down Argentina 1-0 in extra time. Super bizarre game. It, the way it was playing wasn't shocking. Like we knew Spain was going to dominate the ball. We knew that's how they were going to play. It's how they play all tournament. They finished the tournament allowing one goal the entire time, which is insane, just
Nuts.
absolutely insane. And I think it was just more surprising in the sense of, yes, like I expected Spain to dominate the ball more and have more shots, but I just couldn't believe how little Argentina could do on the break. Like we've seen teams do better than that, even though they haven't scored on Spain, but like at least get shots on it. Like Argentina didn't have a shot, not a shot on net, a shot in the first 90 minutes of this game.
Basically,
Like
you're right.
that's what happened. And Messi goes down, not winning back-to-back World Cups, which was probably his last World Cup. I really do think that he'll probably call it there because I think there's a lot of guys that he's done this with that are also going to be kind of phasing out over the next 4 years too for this Argentina squad. So uh, I think that is probably the end. I think we might see him in Copa America here in 2 years, but remarkable tournament by Messi. I know MLS front office probably wishes he would have won that game, but regardless, great run for Argentina. They go down pretty depressing in the way that the game just went though, and all credit to Spain. They suffocated. They should have had 3 to 4 goals in this game. They just Emi Martinez and Argentina's defense held on, and then Nico Williams did everything in his power for a little while to just not score for
Yeah.
Spain. And you got to give them credit. It was they were easily the best team coming to the tournament. I predicted them to win coming in. A lot of people predicted it because they were just the best team, and they
hmm
proved it every single step of the way. I mean, they had the draw against Cape Verde, which at the time we all thought was shocking. They turned out to be the darlings of the
Yeah.
tournament, and they just do a dominant professional win. And Argentina tried to do everything in their power in terms of dirty play and classic Argentina. Like they want to bring you into their level. They bring you into the mud and just they want you to get in it with them. And that's how they get in your head and then do what they do late in at the end of games. And Spain just was like, nope, we're gonna keep doing our the way we play here. Maybe they just like found the way to beat Argentina, which was if you aren't winning, you can't blow a lead against Argentina, and that's what they avoided. They ended up winning in extra time. Ferran Torres gets a good strike off pass from Nico Williams, and that's all she wrote for Argentina. And Spain is probably just the start of a new dynasty here, and I think we're going to see them for quite a few World Cups to come be in this setting.
Yeah. I mean, Lamine Yamal like didn't do anything on the score sheet, but even hurt looked very effective, especially at times like in the very beginning, but even sporadically in the second half. Like Spain, I think that was the fun part about them in this game. I know that like from a neutral's perspective, or maybe from a newer to soccer perspective, this game wasn't the biggest spectacle there could have been. But I think at the same time, like the way that Spain played, like typically when you talk about like a possession heavy team, they lull you to sleep, and it's very pragmatic and just trying to find the perfect pass. But I thought Spain, even with that possession, was still very adventurous, attacking and finding things and creating the shots. So I didn't think it was like the most boring possession based team game there ever was. So I was happy for that. And obviously, anytime Argentina's playing, it's chaos ball. And it's worked so well for them. I mean, they've just been like the cardiac cats of the tournament and going late in all these games. And so you just had that sense in you, like especially when it right before the red card, like it was getting late into regular time, and you're just thinking, man, the longer this thing goes, the more it plays into Argentina's hands. And then Enzo Fernandez with the honestly
Oh,
like okay, his first yellow yelling at the
one,
ref was really stupid.
yeah, one of the worst like 15 minutes of just like
Yeah,
yellow cards
correct.
you could see in a tight game like this.
But I am gonna say like if you're gonna get a yellow, that's like the best yellow you can get, where you send a guy flipping in the air. Like if he was not on
Hey,
anything, like he got his money's
it's
worth on
it's
that
a yellow
yellow.
regardless.
Yeah,
Kubarsi, great job in really selling it though. Like did
yeah,
not get hit enough to flip like that, but really
yeah,
was like probably knew he's on a yellow and was
uh,
like, "Oh, I'm selling this. Like if you're gonna dive in late on this, I'm selling it."
yeah,
And I think that probably helped him get that second yellow in that moment. It was yeah, it's one
for
of those things.
sure.
I mean, Enzo goes from being the hero to being like the villain for Argentina within like
Moments.
4 days. So
Yeah,
that's how quick football can flip on your head. It was yeah, a really dumb challenge because I mean they already were playing defensive, and then when you go down a man,
yeah.
it's just like it's so daunting. And then
And it was so
uh,
late. It
oh
was, yeah, it's just it's.
yeah,
But I shout out to GTA physics because that's what we saw right there. Was just like I could not believe that we were watching it in a group, and it was just like the collective. I wish someone was standing outside the house and just was recording and heard like the oh like when he just went up in the air like that because
oh
that was
yes,
quite the
yeah.
moment.
It was, I think that was probably everybody's reaction. It was just like a gasp because of how it felt like if you any of you have seen it that guy getting hit by like the buffalo and going flying in the air
Yes,
like that's what
it
it
was
looked
just
like.
like that.
It was
Yeah,
crazy. So it I think yeah, I mean I think that game perfectly capped off the run that Spain has been on, and it was a professional dominant tournament by Spain from start to finish,
yeah.
and the defense was unreal. I mean, if you want a crazy stat, I saw one today. Emi Martinez in this game had 11 saves, and Unai Simon the entire tournament had 10 saves.
What? I did not hear that. That's insane,
10 saves over 8 games. That's all he
man.
had. By the way, Unai Simon, I mean, one of the best goalkeeping performances in World Cup history. What was it? 7 clean sheets out of 8 games,
Yeah, Golden
and
Glove.
he I every time because he's really well known for like running out really far and clearing the ball. He did it a couple times. Messi had a breakaway
Yeah,
early in
very
this game and he
beginning.
was there,
Yeah.
and it almost fell to Julian Alvarez. That would have made that really interesting. Every time I see him do it, though, I get flashbacks to Wayne Rooney's DC United and like
Mm,
how he would have his keepers so far. Like, remember they would
yes.
always like
It,
be up
like
like that, and it felt
suicidally.
like every other week someone got chipped that was playing for keeper for DC United
Yes.
because they would come out so far. But Simon's mastered it. He's mastered it. I mean, I think coming into the tournament, a lot of casuals would have just assumed David Raya was going to start for Spain because of what he's
Mm,
been doing for Arsenal. But Unai Simon's been like the guy for them for a little bit now, and has really taken that spot. And I mean, I think it'd be really easy if he had a couple bad games for them to go to David Raya. He just has not let that happen at any point. So you got to give him credit. Probably one of the better goalkeeping groups in the world, right there, and to have
yeah.
David Raya as your backup. So credit to Spain. What a World Cup! It was so much fun watching it every game. I will say, I'm pretty sure I just saw like it's already being like confirmed that it's going to be like a 64 team World Cup with the next one, or 60 team world. Like that's going to be so many games if that does happen.
Yeah. How
I
are we
don't
going to keep
know.
track of this? Yeah.
Is that like an extra group stage game now? Like it's gonna get ridiculous. So we'll see. But
It's just more
I think
groups.
all in
Yeah.
all, for America, for USA, this was a success. Like maybe not for our national team specifically, but for the sport of football and soccer in America, I think it was a success. Like the amount of people that stayed on the World Cup to watch it through the final that I know aren't normal soccer fans was a lot of fun to see. And the amount of people I'm now seeing uh, pick teams to start following or following local teams here in the MLS or in Premier League. Like that's what I think that's what me and you wanted more than anything.
Mm,
Was a continuation of that and the development. And there's kids out there that watch this World Cup the first time that are going to go, I want to play soccer, and those are going to be the guys that are going to be the national team, uh, 16 years from now. So it's cool to see. I loved my favorite part is easily just all the different nations coming together and the fans like interacting with each other and
yeah.
all those videos. I think that all just adds to the element of like Americans grabbing onto soccer. It's like look how passionate all these people are about the sport that came into our country and look how much fun they're having. Like I want to be a part of that. So I think overall I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think for politically what this could have been, even though there were moments, of course, like Mulligan's red card and things that where people got all upset about it. I think overall it was pretty quiet politically, which I think is a good thing. It was, of course, had its moments, and I don't think that it was unavoidable with some of the countries involved, but I think overall this was just a success for soccer in America, and hopefully we can continue to build on it a little bit and continue just to grow the sport.
Yeah, I agree in terms of being a success. Like, it captured a lot of people. I think, obviously it's on TV everywhere you went, and people are getting invested in it. And honestly, it's a great time in America just because, like, once NBA and NHL is done, you kind of get in this lull with midseason baseball, and that's about it. And so I think it had a lot of people looking for what are we going to watch in the summer? Here's this thing that's on during the day. Here's this thing that's on during the night. Like, it's been a great thing to cling on to. So it has been fun. Just I think even maybe the people not even watching the game, so to speak, but just seeing more soccer content because that's
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, all the influencers and everybody's jumping on and like talking about and trying to introduce. They're just trying to get clicks and like it's a big thing. I get it, but I think it's just more content altogether. Like, I like people just saying like, I just can't get Erling Haaland off my feed. I haven't watched the game yet, but this guy's awesome. Like those kind of things where it's like, okay, that's really good for the game in the sport. That's just like ingrained into like
Yep.
people's social media feeds yeah, all of that. So I think it's been a good success. I think there's a lot of people out there right now kind of transitioning into MLS a little bit, saying that maybe MLS didn't do enough to capitalize on what the World Cup was and where it is. And I can kind of hear the concern, but at the same time, I feel like you're not going to really know until like that's something we see down the road. Like, what was the impact? Did we see growth? Did we not see growth? Like those kind of things. Like, maybe you don't like the slogan for the new like ad campaign. All right, I get that. That doesn't necessarily mean that MLS didn't capitalize on it, and there's bigger picture stuff too with the rules and all those things. But I think that like honestly, like Wednesday is going to be one of the peak moments there to see. Okay, like what did MLS do with this? Is there momentum with this and beyond that? Like okay, maybe the first game back for all these teams in like 2 months, like there's going to be a peak in attendance, but
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, like, is that sustainable? Is that something that teams hold on to? Is that something that, like, you see social media feeds, getting more clicks and the highlights on YouTube,
Interactions.
like all
Yeah.
those things? Yeah.
I think two things I'm interested in is the Apple numbers. I would
Hmm.
be interested to know what they are after the World Cup. What does it look a normal game like week like Saturday look like now numbers wise, especially during the summer like you said where it's just baseball going on.
Yeah.
Um, because I think there's going to be people that watch this a lot of the World Cup that have an Apple subscription that are watching their other show, and now they're going to see that ad for the MLS. Be like, oh, I'll turn on the game for a little bit. Like,
Sure.
I
Yeah.
wonder if that happens now. Um, Also, the social media side of it is so big nowadays.
Hmm.
Like, I think the stars, like being stars in this tournament, was so important for that because now when someone's just casually on social media, and when the Premier League and all these leagues get going, they're like, oh, like someone's saying this tweet says Erling Haaland scores a ridiculous goal. Like someone who did not know who Erling Haaland was before would not have clicked on it. Now they've had the exposure because of the World Cup. Are gonna be like, oh yeah, what happened? And it's like that. Just all of that slowly builds into like a fan and someone
Yeah.
like being interested in the sport. So I think like you said, it's we're not gonna know tomorrow like the impact. Like it's gonna be an overtime thing. and I'm interested to hear some of these numbers after we get through some of these game weeks and people start getting a little more invested. So
Yeah,
I'm excited. It was a great World Cup, uh, but it's time, Tony. It's
it's been
time
time.
for our sicko season to start. We had a few games, of course, this past weekend, weekdays that we'll talk about here. But MLS went a little crazy this past weekend, Tony, with some Bombas, and it doesn't get much bigger than the Golden Boot leader leaving the
Yeah,
league. And big news out of Chicago: Hugo Cuypers is going to Monterrey, and this one came out of nowhere. I think that everyone had kind of thought that there was a possibility he could move on. Really didn't think he was going to move on outside of the MLS. And but I think the consensus, like everyone thought Chicago came to, was they want to try this out with Kuipers and Lewandowski together. Like, let's see what this looks like first. We never got to that point. We never saw them on the field together because it's reported that in the background, once they signed Lewandowski, he basically, I think Greg Berhalter even said it today in an interview. He went to them and said he had desires to move on if they were going to have Lewandowski join the team. And I can't totally blame him. Like,
yeah,
you're probably feeling a little insulted that they felt the need to go get a 38-year-old striker in Lewandowski to play the nine when you are the Golden Boot leader in the league already, and your team's having the best season they've had in 15 years. So, um, I I understand it. I'm as a neutral fan. Before I speak as an FC Cincinnati fan, a neutral fan, I'm bummed because I wanted to see them together, see what that looked like, and as an FC Cincinnati fan, I am excited because you're getting this guy out of our lives, which is a good thing in my opinion.
yeah.
And from a Chicago perspective, it is a huge risk. Like I had multiple people text me about this, Tony, that are pretty casual in MLS because they heard about it. And the back and forth I had with everybody was this is a massive risk. Like they are putting all their eggs in Lewandowski basket, which I get. Like I get why you're doing it because he's just a star. Like he is a
Right.
guy. If he is healthy, he's going to score goals here for the next 2 years. But like it's 2 years, basically, is what you're getting out of this. And say he does get hurt, or say he doesn't like have the legs anymore. Like
Mm-hmm.
they are taking what was their best season in 15 years and just really throwing a curveball into it and being like, we're going to shake up the nest here. And now everyone's going to have to really adjust Lewandowski. Now, like I said earlier, it's only game week 16, so there's a ton of time to figure that out. But if they get off to like a slow start here out of the break, you can imagine there's going to be some upset Chicago fans thinking like, did we just like ruin this best season we've had in so long just for the clicks? It's like, to me it just feels like it's like the Chicago front office almost getting in their way a little bit, like in their own way a little bit, where it's like they couldn't help themselves. They're like, we've got to do it, which I don't blame them. Like there is a part of it, I'm like, you're gonna get a ton of jersey sales, you're gonna get a bunch of like people watching your games that were watching it before, but it is a risk for a team that was playing so well with the Golden Boot leader and just completely upsetting that relationship. And now he's on his way to League MX.
Yeah, I don't think that's maybe how Chicago drew that up, if I'm being honest, and like front office, right?
I don't think they thought that was going to happen. I really don't.
Right. And I think that in a perfect world, that was it for them. I think, there's obviously reporting that they're in for Leon Goretzka, as well, Chicago, that is. And, maybe there's a way of working that so that it's not a DP deal. And that way they can kind of have everybody all in one spot. But I can understand from Kuiper's perspective. I think that it's not selfish to think and say, like, I'm really, well, I mean, it sort of is, but it's really protecting yourself in the sense that, like, Kuipers is a great striker in this league, Golden Boot leader, but it's because he's the sole point, and that's where he gets his goals, that's where he makes his money, and so Lewandowski comes in, you're no longer the focal point. What does that do for your career and your trajectory? And like that could easily just impact where Kuipers viewed himself and wanted to see where that went and all those things. So I don't think you can blame him for asking for that. I think as a neutral fan, like you said, like it's a bummer that we didn't even get to see an attempt at like these two running it together, and like could be like an insane powerhouse attacking wise. Because you got Bamba and Zinkernagel on the wings of that too, like just unreal.
Oh,
You
all the
know,
crosses would have been unreal.
yeah, nuts. So it's certainly a big switch for them. I agree that it's a big risk. I heard Tom Bogert today also talking about that Chicago is in for another forward, kind of maybe not quite, obviously not DP level, but a little bit lower level, maybe a TAM level signing
Yeah.
to kind of cover your bases, for when
I feel
Lewandowski's not available. But
I
yeah,
feel like a team is probably going to go out there and get an MLS guy, like someone who is maybe done in the league that isn't like a star power name like Hugo Cuypers was, to kind of
hmm
fill the void that Lewandowski is going to have some games he can't play every single time. So you got to have someone else in there to fill that void. So they're a team I am not going to be shocked if they're in the market interleague for some of that forward
yeah,
position.
right. And it'd be someone that's kind of, again, second string. So maybe not
Mm-hmm.
your the big name, but I do think that's something to keep an eye on. From what it says, that Chicago's not done. It's just, yeah, it's a shame that we don't get the two together. But again, like I said, I can't blame Kuipers for that. I think that he's
Nope.
protecting his career, and at the end of the day, from the player's perspective, I think it's easy to lose the player perspective as fans. Um, you know, this guy's not married to Chicago. This guy is, has his own family, has his own career, and like Chicago was just a step along the way, just like any job that ever we all work and move along in our careers. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's just the right time to go, and I think because of that, that's just how the cookie crumbled.
Yeah, Monterey's building that MLS super team right now.
Yes,
They've gotten Hugo Kuipers, Diego Rossi, Luca Orejano's up there, so they've got a front three of
yes.
all MLS guys. I'm actually interested. I'll probably be looking at their standings, be like, how is this group of guys doing? I
Right.
actually am interested.
Well, someone brought
So
it up too. Do we get Kuipers in Leagues Cup? I guess he could
yeah,
tear some
and
people
they
up.
play. Do they? I think they play
Do
three
they?
MLS teams or something.
Yes, that's how the Leagues Cup does do that. But I don't know who Chicago is playing. I'm gonna scramble here,
I
look
don't
real
think they're
quick.
playing each other. I do not. I do
Oh,
not
that'd
believe
be
so. But
unfortunate. Yeah, it does not appear that way
it will
unless
be like must watch TV for us MLS sickos to watch the former MLS guys just play against the MLS
yeah,
teams. Like that'll be
MLS
fun
All
to
Star
watch.
team playing in Liga
Yeah,
MX
it's
basically.
literally going to look like the All Star game. Actually.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Well, we want to cover that one first because that was massive news. So big shakeup in the Eastern Conference. And it'll be interesting to see how Lewandowski gets going here. I think that he's actually like gonna play tomorrow. I like that's like kind
I
of the
would
word I'm
think. I
getting.
mean, he's been there for a while now, right?
They're playing Miami without some of those without Messi, so it's a very winnable game on the road for them against Miami. So we'll see how it looks out. But seeing like Lewandowski and Luis Suarez go head to head is going to be like a major throwback. I'm like, what year is it right now?
Yeah, right.
Um, so that should be a fun watch. But let's get into some previews here, Tony. I'm feeling a little rusty. It's been like what 40 something days since our last
Something like
preview.
that. Yeah.
So it's been a while. Game week 16. And no, we do not have to start with Toronto FC anymore. There is not a day game on this Wednesday.
Wow.
So uh, we are going to start with the Columbus Crew at home versus NYCFC. Two teams that have had major shakeups in opposite directions. You have this Columbus Crew side that has Diego Rossi now pulled out of it. Now they've had some incoming signings, and one of the scenarios we've talked about it as they've happened. We're not super familiar with these guys they've been bringing in, and that's always a risk because as much as like big name players come to this league and still perform because the MLS isn't the best league in the world, there is usually like an adjustment period. Like some people come in thinking it's more of a cakewalk than it is at times. Like you've heard big stars come in and really back the MLS and say like I got my butt kicked because I thought I was gonna
Yeah.
walk in here, and it's a more physical league than people anticipate. So it'll be interesting how the Columbus Crew adjusts to that. Max Arfson still is there, so there's rumors of him going to Middlesbrough, but that has not happened yet. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what this Columbus lineup looks like. The only team to not defeat Burnley on their USA preseason tour. That just happened. Wasn't the Columbus Crew. Um, and then you've got NYCFC who are buying away. Like they're bringing guys in. Like they're going for it. This is a team. I think Tony, in my mind, is elevated from that. Uh, they're going to sneak into the playoffs and just upset somebody. Like this is going to be a real contender come playoff time. And I think that all of a sudden the Eastern Conference is like getting legit. And we joked to how poor the Eastern Conference was to start this year, and I think the second half could look a lot different in terms of what these conferences look like and how they compare to the first 15 games. And I think NYCFC is a big part of that. So, uh, as far as predictions, this one, all these games are going to be like just throwing something against the wall and hoping it
Right.
sticks. I'm going to go actually NYCFC on the road. Like I just believe in their talent more. If you just go through and start listing these guys, like the amount of attacking talent they have on their roster now, even with Martinez hurt, like there's a lot of dudes, like a lot of guys, like even like someone like Talos Magno, like is just
Yeah.
not going to play, and like
Right.
he's a guy who legitimately would get minutes on most MLS teams, but they just have so much attacking talent right now that he's probably going to barely play. So I'm excited to watch this new look NYCFC team and see how it all works together. And like quietly in all of it, James Sands is just like back. Like
Back.
he's just
Right.
back as like probably will be one of the better CDMs in the league. Like that's just what he's done every time he comes back. So I think gonna be quietly just like a big boost for a midfield that just lost Maxi Morales like in it as well. So I think that this is gonna be a really good NYCFC team.
Yeah, and kind of similar in roster news there. I saw today, I guess, that there's some pretty strong rumors that Hannes Wolf is on his way out in New York City.
Oh, oh,
Yeah. So, I mean, when Traore came in, that was part of our conversation was like, hey, there's not necessarily enough room for everybody here.
yeah.
So, like, something's going to have to give, and it looks like it might be Hannes Wolf here, which makes sense. And I think still, like, overall net, like, New York City's a better team because of that. I think they're probably the better team with the Crew, pardon me, or against Crew. Part of me does want to see, I'm not sure if they've said if Bryce Mendez will play for the Crew in this game or not, if he's ready to go, but I am just really interested to see how this looks. And by the way, Hell is Real is on Saturday in the Columbus edition of that. So, pretty important, like quick turnaround scouting report here. I mean, we're going to have double game weeks left and right from this point forward. So, just something to watch there because it's hot and heavy. Like if a player hits, if they need to hit, they need to hit soon because like the games are just coming fast. So, I think that the new players are obviously something we're watching across the board, but particularly in this game, I just want to see how New York City looks, especially. I think that the Bryce Mendez thing is just something that maybe keeps the Crew a little bit more competitive. So I like your pick for New York City on the road. I think I'm going to tail that. Will give it a little bit of modesty and say I don't think it's going to be more than a 1 goal margin. I don't think it's going to be a
I
blowout, but
agree.
I think New York City gets it done.
And like I said, the first game being back, Columbus could win this game 4-0 for all I know. Like
Yep,
that's just
that's
what
how it
happens in
works.
these games,
That's
as we already saw in some of the games that occurred this past weekend. Moving on here, we have FC Cincinnati at home versus Vancouver, the game we will be at, making our return to watching games live.
we are
This is
back.
I mean, as an FCC fan, a fun game in terms of like you want to see how you stack up against the best of the best, and Vancouver is exactly that. Um, we'll see. I would anticipate Sebastian Berhalter is going to play. I just don't know how like they're some of these guys are going to be treated in terms of like time off. USA's been out for a little while now, so I'd imagine he's going to play. Um, but Moeller and Brian White and these guys are going to be ready to go, fresh. I think the only guy that's really hurt for them that's pretty significant is Sabi is out for a little bit, still at this point, so he won't be able to feature. But I think this is a Vancouver side that is so good, so good. And this FC Cincinnati side is coming off the most mid start to a season, that 5-5-5 with
Yeah,
a -1 goal differential. This is a team though coming into break it was probably one of the teams that was upset that break was happening because they finally felt like they were hitting their groove a little bit. Like offense was really clicking. I think they and it was their last game, like that big win.
Six
I
to
can't even.
two,
Yeah.
yeah, against Orlando.
This is a team that I think really got the offense going. Like for the first 5 weeks, this team was like the worst offense in the MLS. And then they just went on this tear where it's just like they were scoring so many goals, but they were allowing a ton of goals.
That was a lot of goals,
And
yeah.
this is now like going to be interesting to see what version we get out of break. Like, is this break going to hurt them? Is it going to help them? They haven't really made many changes. They haven't made any changes to the roster, and it sounds like Miles Robinson won't start for them as he still gets back in with the team. Which, if that happens and I watch Sebastian Berhalter put in a shift, I'm going to be a little annoyed. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think this game's going to be high scoring. Like I don't think it's gonna, and it might be to FC Cincinnati's defeat. Like I think that they could lose this game like 4-2,
Yeah.
legitimately. But as me as a sicko and a home truther, I'm gonna say a 3-2 victory, and we'll call it that.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna pick win anyways, but like, despite the like, I'm trying not to wear the rose color glasses right now. I'm somewhat convinced of it. I just think that, like, I agree with you in some sense that they, like, looked like they didn't want the break, but also that 6-2 win was against Orlando, who had just been absolute dog water. And before that, they were getting walked by Miami, scraping up a draw against San Diego, scraping up a draw against Charlotte, pulling a rabbit out of their hat in Chicago. Like, those were their last 5 games. So I think the defense really needs to recoup and have that time, and I can't imagine that this time off really hurts them. Now, granted, it's a very good Vancouver attack. It's a very good team that basically attacks as a whole. So I think it's going to be quite the test. I do think, if anything, we're going to get a lot of goals in this game, which is fun as a neutral. But at the end of the day, like, I kind of wonder. I think a lot of Vancouver's success is around the system and around rallying, and they just have not really played. I'm sure they've had a scrimmage or two, but like, when Vancouver really gets rolling, it's because everybody knows their roles and just how to interplay with each other. And I think that the break is also talking about teams that didn't benefit from it. Maybe Vancouver is in that list. So I just kind of wonder if it's going to look maybe a little bit flat. We kind of saw this with Toronto. Montreal was like, first game back almost feels like week one, just shaking off the rust, and some of these missed passes that you wouldn't see midseason, you see at the beginning. And I just wonder if that would affect Vancouver a little bit harder because they play more as a unit. So I'm going to take Cincinnati, give them the edge here, but we got lots of goals coming.
Yep. Moving on here, we have Chicago and Miami, like I talked about earlier. Miami's at home without Messi, of course. He will not be on the roster for this one. I'm gonna go the Lewandowski bump here. I'm gonna take Chicago on the road. I do think that you could get a Lewandowski goal against this Miami defense to open up his campaign. Like, that is a legitimate thing. And like, in reality, there's a world where they don't skip a beat. Like, there is a world where it looks exactly the same because Lewandowski is, I mean, a way more decorated player than Cuypers, just as good of a goal scorer at times, and has been way better at times in his career. But I mean, he's a lot older, so it's maybe not quite the legs that Hugo Cuypers has at this point in his career. But if the rest of the team is still set up the chances they were set up for Cuypers, because it's not like Cuypers was dropping back and
Yeah.
pinging balls around. Like, he was just getting in the box and finishing chances, and that's all Lewandowski is going to do. So I think he gets a goal in his first game if he starts, and I think Chicago get all 3 points on the road.
I think that's a good take too. Just to be honest, I think Miami's going to sleepwalk here for another month or two. I just think post World Cup hangover.
They do it even
and
not in the World Cup at this point in the year, and then they just turn it
right,
on
right.
late.
They just don't care, and as long as they're in the playoffs and within striking distance, that's fine. So I think that this is going to be Chicago, and yeah, this is the big talking point. I hope Lewandowski starts because then we get to see, like, obviously they didn't mean it this way, but it's a like for like replacement with Cuypers, and how does that impact the team and what they try and do offensively. that could really shape where Chicago's going in the second half of the season. So definitely a very enticing matchup, must watch for sure.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be one I'm excited to watch the highlights for after we see our game. New England at home against Toronto. Toronto's one of those teams coming off already playing a game, so I think that will
Must
benefit
miss.
them.
Yeah,
Um, what'd you say?
must miss game, by the way.
Yeah. Um, which you would imagine would benefit them in terms of just seeing live action already. I'm gonna go draw on this one. I think that will help them enough on the road, even though it wasn't pretty in their first game. Like they still had live action.
Hmm.
Mihailovic was on the bench in that game. I think we're getting
Came on.
close to him starting,
Yeah.
um, and they need him like desperately. They just need him for all 90. Like they don't have enough talent to bring him on much later anymore, and they need points badly. But I think New England. I mean, one of the shockers of the first half, or I keep saying half, first basically third. Uh, no, I guess it's a little close to the half and the third
Yeah.
of the season where like no one expected them to do as well they're doing, and they did it. And I think I'm still in that camp of like, is this for real? Like, am I buying into this too early? What is this going to look like? So I'm going to go Toronto, but that's not. I'm not trying to say it's anything against New England. It's more so I think Toronto have already played a game is really going to benefit them in this scenario. I know that means they may be a little bit more tired, but I think the live action is helpful.
Okay, we've got our first zig and zag here. I'm going to take New England. It feels like we got pranked or something to look at the table and New England's in fourth right
Mm-hmm.
now. Like it just does not feel right. But the reality is that they've had a lot of breaks go their way. Toronto's been the exact opposite. That draw that they had against Montreal the other night, I mean, broke a 4-game losing streak for Toronto. Like it's just been kind of at the bottom for them. I know Mihailovic, they need him back more than ever. Josh Sargent, a large spans of the season has gone pretty invisible. I don't know. I don't see that really getting kick started here. You also got to remember too, like a big reason for New England's success has been Matt Turner. And I know that he's probably not gotten the amount of action that New England would have hoped out of the World Cup. But I mean, statistically, he was the best goalkeeper in the games leading up to the break. So I think that Toronto's going to have to really earn a goal if they're going to get one here, and I don't know where it comes from at the moment. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I think New England's just been too strong. New England's at home, and Toronto was also on the road for Montreal. I think it's a little too much for Toronto in this one, so I'm taking New England at home.
Fair enough. We have now the new look Philadelphia Union against the New York Red Bulls. Not really new look; it's just the same look, but $1
Just
million
Kai Wagner's
more
here. Yeah,
than what you sold them for. And Kai Wagner.
yeah.
Overall, I think I've come around. I think it's like good for like that team's morale more than anything to have
Mm,
a guy like that back,
yeah.
who's like really just like wants to win, has won a ton, and wants to be in Philly. Like I think that's got to be good for that team. I just don't know if it will translate into wins. And Red Bull is another team that they went through a period where you started to doubt it a little bit in
Yeah.
Michael Bradley's like first campaign. You're like, oh, here's the dip, and then they recovered. Like they bounced back, which I think shows a lot of like professionalism and growth from these young guys to kind of bounce back as quick as they did. I mean, I'm going to go Red Bulls. I'm being a road truther hardcore in this prediction so far, but this Philly team was the worst team I've watched all first half of the year, and I don't think that's just going to change overnight. So I'm going to go Red Bulls on the road, and I think it's a close game, but I think they get it done.
The unfortunate part here is that really cool to have Kai back. I don't think the left back was the issue for Philly. Like they're going to get a little bit more action, a little bit more service. That it just wasn't the issue. Like Philly had some more uh, kind of ingrained issues just with pressure and just not really playing the way that they've been built out to. So, um, I think that really we're not going to see a team that's changed that much. Maybe their offensive numbers go up a little bit more, and then their defensive numbers pay for it. That's the other news. I don't know if you saw that one, but Makanya, the starting center back for Philly, who played for I believe South Africa in
Mm-hmm.
this World Cup, he's been really good, and he's forcing a move, and it sounds like he has not returned to camp. So you're already losing, a day in day out starter at center back for Philly as well. It's too much. It's been too much for them all season. So I'm always going to bet against them in that case and take Red Bulls here.
Yep, that's. I think it's a don't overthink it. Just like this next one, in my opinion, which is Charlotte at home versus Atlanta. This is a Charlotte crowd. I mean, they're going to turn up for this game, like first game out of the World Cup. Like there's going to be a good crowd. St. Maximin's first game, which will be exciting. I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah.
One of those like the streets, like the streets talk about this guy. Like St. Maximin is like in that category of like just because he's such like a flashy player. And I think at first I was pretty down on this because I'm like, this just feels like a Zaha 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he is younger. He like as much as he feels like he's been around a while, like he's still only like I think he's like what like 29, 30. So he's not like super aged at this point. Like he still has his legs, and there is like a part of me that's like this could because Zaha like really when you watch me like this guy's legs are not there anymore. Like he never had like he had the flashiness, but he couldn't make a move and fully break away from somebody. It felt like a lot of times, like Saint Maximin from like what I've seen from like highlights as of recently, still has that ability where it's like he can like 1-2 you and like be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think the finishing is what has always been the issue with him. Like it's really like flashy until you get to the finishing aspect. But I don't know. I think he's the type of player like could be like a cult hero like in Charlotte if he just like has like a decent time. Like where it's like this is fun to watch. Like if it's nothing else, it's fun to watch, and that's what I hope for. That he kind of gets kind of like going in football again because he's in a spot that he's like appreciated and loved. I mean, dude came off like the worst League MX experience where they like left because his daughter was getting racially abused like in the schools
Yeah.
and everything. Like that's the type of stuff he's had to go through recently. Like the Charlotte community is just going to be like open arms, like we love this guy. So I think that will be fun to watch to see how he like kind of takes that energy and puts it onto the field.
Yeah, I think that's the exciting part. That's the hope for them, right? Because if it's not, then you do have a a Zaha 2.0, which I mean had its moments. I still think he also kind of hit the cult hero status a little bit for Charlotte, even though maybe just not too many heroic moments, and Charlotte didn't do like a ton as a team. But I think that uh, like if you're looking at Zaha as a whole, I wouldn't call him a failure. Like his signing, right? Like I don't think he really had a roster around him that was also gonna like elevate to the next level. So that being said,
All time bad red card though.
yeah,
That,
yeah. I mean,
unfortunately, that's like how I remember his time. Is like you got the worst red card ever leading into the playoffs. Like the fact that like you brought him for those moments in the playoffs and then he just couldn't
right, and
play
then
was
that happened. But I mean, how much of a difference was he going to make? Hard to say. We'll never know because we didn't see it, and because it was a bad
exactly.
red card. But anyways, all that to say, they're facing an Atlanta team, kind of a rivalry here. Um, I mean, they just don't have any teeth on
Nope.
them. This Atlanta team. I just think that whoever the poor guy is that's going to be playing right back for Atlanta is just going to get torn up. Now, I'll give him a little bit of credit. I think Nashville's still shaking off that rust in that 1-0 win on Friday night, I believe. So I think that maybe a little bit surprising that Nashville didn't do more to Atlanta. Maybe you can credit a little bit of the fresh back line there and stifling a good Nashville attack. But I just think as a whole, like systematically, like Atlanta's attack, you just don't need to respect right now. And it just lets teams kind of pour it on. And I think maybe the Atlanta defense has improved, but they're going to be under way more pressure than a team that's kind of more rounded. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a no-brainer to take Charlotte in this one.
Totally. Yeah. It's lots will go down as one of the worst signings of all time. It's
Yes,
so bad. So bad.
really
Um
bad.
we have Austin at home against Seattle. Seattle, another team that played and got the just breaks beat off them by Portland. Dead manager
Yeah.
bump. All that is
All
like,
time.
yeah. I mean, to have dead manager sit on it for 40 days and then show up and do that, that's dead manager bump.
It was
That's what
cooking.
that is.
Yeah.
I looking at these teams, so it's just what Seattle's been for the past couple years. It is remarkable to see they have like 8 guys unable to play after a World Cup break, like
Yeah.
injuries. Both the Roldans, De La Vega, like there's just a handful of guys that like are starters that if they're healthy and they're just not healthy, it's crazy after all this time
Someone.
off.
Yeah.
Um, and then you have this Austin team that is kind of like it feels like they got new transfers, but it's just guys getting healthy. It's the opposite of what Seattle is. I mean, you got Owen Wolf like fully back and healthy, and you've got Brandon
It's
Vasquez
huge.
fully back and healthy. Like
Yeah.
those two guys coming back are like, I mean, coming into this year before they made some signings, you probably would have said these are the best 2 players on the team. Like this is like who they're getting back that they didn't have at the start of this year. So it will be interesting to watch this one and see how those guys come back into the fold a little bit and see how they work with the team that's been playing. So I'm excited to see that. And then Seattle, like, can they get off the mat? I don't really know. That game
Yeah.
was so bizarre. It was really bizarre, and I think that they're gonna lose again. Like, I kind of feel good about Austin, and I think that might be bad because that's when they
Yeah.
let me down always. So I'm gonna go Austin and just try and go home truther in this scenario and hope it works out.
This might be maybe the hardest game to pick, honestly, out of the slate.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, like, well, one, I don't know if that's just a curse thing that Portland always wins in Seattle. I mean, like, we knew that
We
coming in.
talked
Now,
about it too.
we did. Now, 5-1, I don't think anybody saw, even including Portland fans, the rose-colored lens on that. But, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they bounce back from this. I mean, this could have been the hornet's nest kind of moment here where Portland poked it, and now Austin's about to reap the benefits of that. Or it could be like bigger things. I will say from watching that game, like the stars for Seattle just didn't show up. Jordan Morris had a really really quiet night, particularly, and call it rust, call it age, call it maybe getting a little bit too comfortable in their starting position. All these things, and I don't know if there's a leading thesis out there yet on that, but I just think there's a lot of reasons right now where these starters that they've been waiting so long for from injury, like it's just not there anymore. And if that's the case, then I think Austin's really got this. Like if that's really going to be where this trend goes. Now, if they just needed that wake up call, then I think Austin's screwed. So I think my official prediction for this game is not a tie. That's my
Okay.
official prediction.
Okay.
Yes, is
Okay.
someone is going to beat somebody.
Yeah. That's that as a neutral, that's all you can hope for most of the
Right.
time.
That's true.
Um, okay, moving on. We've got. I think this is the sicko game. I really, I really do. I don't know who's watching this game besides these
Yeah.
two fans of these teams, and it's Houston at home against DC. Two teams that have kind of like shook it up a little bit. I mean, you've got Duncan McGuire for Houston. You've got what's the LAFC or kid that came over to DC. Why am I blanking on his name?
Um. Uh.
Tony,
Wow.
you gotta help me out here.
I know.
This is bad by us. This is bad.
Uh. Oh.
Ordaz. Nathan Ordaz.
Ordaz. There it
Ugh,
is.
that was breaking part central for
Yeah.
the
I don't
podcast
know
right
why.
now.
I went to Galaxy and I was like, when did the Galaxy? That's how screwed up I was. Yeah.
Yeah. So they both brought in a new attacker to try and help out what these two attacks were unable to do at times in the first half. DC was a better attack than Houston ever was in the first half, and
Yeah.
Houston's defense has not been bad. It's just they need an attack to match it. And I'm excited to see Duncan McGuire and what he looks like in this team going forward, and how hopefully he can like reignite it a little bit. I guess it was never ignited in the first place, so just ignite it. And for DC, the same, just to build off what was a solid first like portion of the season. I mean, from what their expectations were, what they've done previous seasons, like I would imagine they're happy with how the season started, and they can try and build off of that. And I think Ordaz is like a good reassurance that the front office is actually like trying to help it out. Like they're not just letting it be, which is got to feel good if you're a DC fan. I'm gonna go draw though. I go draw just because I don't know what to make either of these teams coming out of the break at all. I think it's low scoring. Like I'm thinking like 0-0-1-1 is really what I'm thinking out of this game.
Yeah. I think I'm going to stick home truther here. We're a home league. We can't forget that. I know we've had the World Cup, but we're a home league. And I just think, for DC United and what they've done, and they've certainly improved compared to last season. I just think at times they still have these games where they kind of look like DC of old. Meanwhile, Houston, I mean, also not immune to that. That they definitely have that from time to time. I do think that the Duncan McGuire, I'm going to call it experiment, is going to be very interesting because it seems like Ponce is also gone. So Duncan McGuire is your starting center forward, and like when you surround him with Guilherme and Matty Bogus, and even like Anali, I think has had a good season on the wing or as a wing back. And Jack McGlynn, not to forget mentioning him. There's some fun pieces on this attack. It hasn't really found kind of its cohesion, but I think that all these players as individuals, we see them operate at the MLS level and do quite well. So is Duncan McGuire going to be able to get up to speed is the big question on this one. If he can find one, even a goal, I think if he scores one goal, it's an auto win for Houston because they're going to keep going to the well. They're going to keep, finding ways to pull apart DC United, whose defense has kind of been part of the lagging part of their improvement. But I could also see a 0-0 written all over this if Houston can't really find their chances or at least put them away. I think they're going to have more chances, but the efficiency could be way off. So
Yep.
I'm going to lean Houston, but could be any of them. This is a tough one to call too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to the next one here. We got Nashville at home versus Montreal. I don't want to spend too much time on this one. Nashville's already played. I think we're
Yeah.
both going to be in the Nashville winning camp here. I gotta imagine.
Yes.
Anything else to add for this thrilling matchup?
It would be nice to see Danny Pereira for
Sure.
Montreal, and you may get you will get Owusu back because of the red card stuff. So maybe they make it a little bit of a game, but probably not.
I
I'm
love
trying.
that was perfect ending.
Yeah.
And then we have SKC against Minnesota. SKC is one of the teams, home truther in this scenario, that has played a game, which I think will be actually helpful to them. And Minnesota, without James Rodriguez now, no longer with the squad. And am I going to go SKC? Am I going to do
No,
it?
you're not. No way.
No, it's a 1-1 draw.
Whoa. Okay. I'm taking Minnesota on the road. Sporting Kansas City, less rest, already bad. That enough said. Minnesota's got a way of grinding out, their results. Like their system is made specifically for teams that are like playing teams that are worse than them, like Sporting Kansas City. They're gonna walk right into the mousetrap, and then Minnesota just springs it on them. And Sporting Kansas City's defense right now is just not good enough to like be able to feel strong and protect against that. So, taking Minnesota on the road here.
Yeah, Jovic gets me my one goal for the draw, I believe.
Yeah.
If you like attack, you'll like this next game because it is Colorado against San Diego, two teams that like to have the ball and like to attack. So I'm interested to know what this one looks like. Two teams that have not really done anything in these windows, like have
Mm-hmm.
not changed their roster a ton. And if you would have guessed that with Chucky Lozano on San Diego, I think you would have assumed they would have maybe figured something out by now. Nope, they have not figured anything out. I did see an LA Galaxy rumor for Chucky Lozano out there, which I think would be
How real is
so
that?
awesome. I would love it.
Oh,
I would love it
I'd
so
be
much.
pissed as a Galaxy fan. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be
I know,
pissed.
but I'm not a Galaxy fan, so I would
Yeah.
love
Okay.
it. I can
Yeah.
do
Fair.
so. Yeah, yeah,
Correct.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
I'll,
saying it's going to
I'll
work out
take
well.
that take.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's going to work out well. I just want to see the storyline. So I don't know. I don't really know how to pick this one. I'm going to keep on my draw streak here. I'm just going to pick draw because neither of these teams impressed in the first half of the season,
Yeah.
and I don't really know what to make of them coming in the second half.
Right. And I think that's totally fair. I think that just to kind of talk about this game, it feels like it's kind of one of these weird, boring games. I think it could be a real narrative builder for either of these teams. So, right now they're 12th and 13th. Like, like you said, been pretty disappointing first part of the season. A win for either of these teams, it marches them right up to the playoff line / borderline in, depending on other results. And I think can really change kind of the mental stigma in the fan base if you're a team that's like right inside the playoffs versus there's only two teams worse than us in our conference. I think there's a big swing that's available for both these teams here. So I'll give this one like a real important tone setter for both these teams. That being said, I think that I think I'm gonna go San Diego because we're a home truther league. I see plenty of opportunity for Colorado to win this. San Diego's addicted to possession, and a lot of times in their shortcomings, it's been a mishap with their possession, especially in their own half, that's led to the other team getting an easy opportunity in scoring. So I think Colorado is a team that could definitely capitalize off that stuff, and could very easily like take that away. But I think I'm just going to trust my guns here. San Diego's the home team. They've got a little bit of a leg up
Colorado's the
because of
home
that.
team.
Oh, let's delete the last two minutes. So then I like Colorado a lot actually. Then yeah, so Mile High. I mean, San Diego's gonna be huffing and puffing.
Yeah,
They're gonna
yeah.
pass it away so many times they can't see straight. I'm taking Colorado.
That was great. I love that.
Yeah,
Um, Moving on, we have the Galaxies taking on St. Louis. Both teams have played already since the break. Galaxy got destroyed by LAFC, and then St. Louis had a good win against SKC with a late penalty by Lowen to cap off that one. I think a lot of people are going to look at this tone and be like, "Oh, this is a great game for LA Galaxy to bounce back."
hmm
I kind of want to pick St. Louis.
Wow.
Like I do. And I'm not going to. I'm going to do another draw. I'm just
Oh,
addicted to
jeez.
draws right now.
Yeah.
I don't think there. I don't think there's much that separate these teams. As much as I'm not trying to insult LA Galaxy fans right now, I really don't think there is a big, huge separation of talent right now with these two teams.
I think there is still. I think that like what we saw was LAFC is just that much more better than LA Galaxy and really a lot of teams in this league. The Galaxy did start like a pretty preferred lineup, I would say, other than I guess we're missing Peck now. But one of the issues that they had was it's like, man, just get Carter Hack and Glesnes out there and starting at center back, like get some things ironed down and figured out, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was just a little bit of the LAFC kind of being better. It's kind of like the same thing. Like Argentina didn't play a bad game in the World Cup final, but Spain just totally ran the game, and I think LAFC just totally ran the game. So I think the Galaxy are going to have a little bit better like luck on this one. St. Louis, fun win against your big rival. Love all of that. But it's Sporting Kansas City. I'm not really buying the hype. I think these are two teams that are just on the opposite end of momentum, and so I really think that the tides are going to switch here, and I'm going to pick the Galaxy.
Okay. Sticking in LA here, another game. Both games starting in LA at 10:30, which is funny.
Traffic's
Uh,
not going to be able to handle that.
yeah, LAFC at home versus RSL. Fun game. This is a fun game. Xavier
Yeah.
Gavo's just quickly ascended to must-watch MLS talents right now, and watching him at RSL is just now on my list of if they're on, because usually they're on the late slate after FC Cincinnati too, so I'm able to watch them.
Yeah.
Watching him and Luna work together and just this RSL attack look the way it has, I think is exciting. Now they're playing against LAFC at home, but correct me wrong. This is one that has weird history. RSL sneaky wins a lot against LAFC. Am I right in saying that?
Uh,
No,
no,
is that
not
not them? I don't know who I'm
you
thinking
want
of.
the
Is it
all
Houston?
time
It's Houston, right?
Houston. Yeah,
Yeah.
all time because we're here. LAFC 15 wins, one draw. RSL 4 wins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Regardless of that information, I was going to pick LAFC. I think you're going to see Son got off in that goal, I think you could start to see him really get after it, goal scoring wise. Like, I mean, we saw it last year when he gets going. Like,
Yeah.
he can just rip him off. And if Himbuaga can continue like doing their thing, I don't see how they slow down. So I'm gonna go LFC at home. Like, I just feel they've played a game now and looked great offensively,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's gonna hurt them this year. I think it only helps them against an RSL team that hasn't played out of the break yet.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to pick against LAFC in this one. Last two matches, which were both in 2025, and actually, I forgot about this. This was the I think one of their games got rescheduled, so they played each other twice in like 4 days. And if you remember that, both
Yes, it was
games,
like near the end of the year, wasn't it?
yes, yeah, it was September 21st and September 17th. Both games, LAFC won 4-1. So do we get a third 4 to
That's
one?
brutal. That's
Yeah,
a brutal couple days.
it kind of feels like it could be another 4-1. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean that's the caliber we're talking about. I'm going to give RSL a little bit more benefit than that. I think LAFC still wins, less than a 3 goal margin though. I'll give them that.
Mm. Yeah, I think it could be like 3-2. Like I think
Yeah,
RSL's like one of the more fun teams to watch attacking wise, just the talent they've got up there. So uh, I'm going to be invested in them in the second half. Portland at home against Dallas after just the dead manager bump went crazy. Now we've seen dead manager bump wear off very quick after that first game,
yeah.
and that could happen here. I don't think it will. Um, I think this game will be super close. Like I don't think talent wise there's a ton that separates these teams. Like I mean Musa's the best player on the field, so
Hmm.
that gives them the advantage over there. And coming off scoring for Croatia in the World Cup, which was exciting,
Yeah.
and I think he's going to continue his form. I don't know. I'm going to go draw again. I don't really know how to pick this game. I don't want to overreact to what Portland did, and I
Yeah.
don't want to discredit this Houston team or this Dallas team as well. So I'm going to go draw and just take a back seat in this one.
And another thing that we didn't mention at the top was that Portland is hiring a new coach too. They've announced that
Fuentes.
yeah, Cifuentes, Marty Cifuentes. I It was kind of funny, and I don't know if it's kind of like a cult hero status, but the interim coach, like, I mean, maybe it's just because he beat their rivals. Like all the Portland fans were just like rah rah over it, like we don't need a new coach, and then they hire like the timing of
Right
this,
away. Yeah.
like yeah, I mean, like I'm sure like. I mean, obviously, like Cifuentes is going to be like a very interesting
He's a
coach
very
and
attacking,
very attacking
very
minded.
very high attacking manager.
Reasons to be excited, no doubt. But was that a little deflating to hire a coach at that exact timing? Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like,
I think you could sell yourself on it and be like, we've got the talent. Like the talent's there. They're capable of beating Seattle 4-0. So now we just need someone to
yeah,
like consistently manage it. So I think you could sell yourself on that.
maybe so. So, I don't know. All that to say, like, obviously he's not coaching on Wednesday. He won't be here for a little while still. But I wouldn't assume at
Oh, is he
least.
not?
Oh, I wouldn't think he would step in on like right now. I mean, just because he was hired doesn't mean he's here yet.
I think he might be. I can keep talking. Though.
Dang, yeah.
Tell
I'll
me your
keep
prediction
talking.
on
I'll
this one.
keep rambling. All that to say, like Dallas has had those moments that have come and kind of struck you and surprised you. Obviously, like you said, when you have the best player on the field in most games, that's going to benefit you, and they've made that work. Logan Farrington has been the perfect sidekick for Musa in that too. I believe all those guys are healthy and available. So I think this is on paper a better Dallas team than Portland team. I'm so tempted. I think I'm going to call it draw. I haven't called as many draws as you. I was tempted. I'm leaning a little bit towards Dallas, but I don't know about the roadness of it all, and I don't want to interrupt with like Portland's good vibes right now. I think that it could be something that like does kind of lift them above, even if it is a few days less rest. But I'm going to take the draw here and play it safe.
They haven't even announced him. I didn't even realize that. Like,
Oh, so it's only
he hasn't
Bogart
even been
official.
announced by
Yeah,
Portland
he
yet.
ain't. He's not playing.
Yeah, yeah.
Or coaching. Yeah,
So it'll be a little bit. Tommy Scoops was on it before anybody else.
that's right.
Uh, continuing on here, we'll finish out in my like must-watch game after FCC. Like I'm staying up to watch this game. Like I am really excited to watch the game. San Jose are we declared. By the way, I just want to give us credit again. Back-to-back years, like we were on Vancouver early and San Jose early. Like
Don't
if
nuke this
if
train
if,
though.
if we
Yeah.
back your team early, you gotta be feeling good about your team going forward.
Excited.
If you
Yeah.
listen to this podcast, so San Jose coming off like being the darlings of the first half is what I would call them. Like I think everyone was just like, "Whoa, like what is going on here?" Still haven't went and got out that second DP yet, so we're still waiting on them to do something with that, which I
Hmm.
hope they do, uh, for Timo Werner's sake and the team getting some help.
Yeah.
And then you have the debut of Antoine Griezmann, now coming to Orlando, which he has scored in like every friendly leading up to it, to this moment. So that's exciting. Like I really do think he's going to bring some energy into this team. The dude is still not like he's not old. Like I mean he's older, but he's not Lewandowski coming into the
Still
league. Like
got it.
he
Yeah.
is definitely still has that ability. Was scoring goals for Atletico Madrid in the Champions League this past season. So it's like this dude plays, and I'm excited to see him in that 9 role for them and how he interlinks with Ojeda and all these guys and just how they feel it out. Another big factor for Orlando just going forward is they signed Daryl DK back, which was a shocker of a move. But we didn't talk about last episode. And, I think this is the ultimate like vibes flyer. Like if this like
Right.
works out, great signing. Like if he can give you like even half of what he gave you before, I think this is a risk that's well taken, especially with Duncan McGuire leaving. Like it's like, yeah, we probably brought him in on half the cost of Duncan McGuire because of Daryl's injury history now as of late. I feel for the guy. I mean, he went to championship, tried to like take the next step, and tore his same Achilles twice in back to
Yeah.
back seasons. But actually, like played this past year a little bit, and like almost was just like a year of like getting back to like just moving normal more than anything.
Hmm.
So if they can get like something from him off the bench, like I think this is a great signing, and I like he's the type of guy I'm like I wouldn't want to see him sub on in the 70th minute in a game and like just be this like 6'2" guy just sprinting around and pressing you, and being a body in the box for them to try and get a goal late. So that'll be interesting. I really don't think it's gonna like make them way better. I just think it's a need they had in like a backup striker role almost, and I'd be surprised if he's starting much. I think it's more so he'll get some time, most of the time off the bench, and maybe some League Cups games, things like that. So exciting matchup in terms of just like new star power in the league and the team that was like the darlings of the first half. And I'm gonna go San Jose. Like I think everyone's gonna look at this and be like, Griezmann, you got to pick Orlando. Like this is all vibes coming in, but I think San Jose could easily squash that with just how well connected they are as a team, and if they can keep this up, what they did in the first half.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we can't forget. Like, I don't think that Griezmann's going to change everything. Like,
Definitely not the defense.
right? Yeah, as I say, San Jose could just nuke this Orlando team. Like, just you know, run shop. But at the same time, like we saw, like they had a great first part of the season. We saw the wheels fall off a little bit there for a second. Like their last five leagues games, they only won one, and they lost three. So I think a lot of that was kind of the depth that was getting tested that really wasn't there. And like you mentioned, I mean they've only got one DP right now, and I think that like when the games kind of got hot and heavy, you can kind of tell that they couldn't dig into the bench the way that other teams could. So at least for this moment in a vacuum, San Jose's fresh. They're gonna be ready to go. I think that you have to pick them here now. As far as bigger, like longer term implications, I think that you can open up a conversation and say, like, we saw that when the games got like very dense, they weren't able to keep up with it, and that's what a lot of this next part of the season is going to be, is just an absolute sprint. But for more than half of the season, is San Jose really going to be made of it, especially how they're playing right now? And I think there's some real arguments to be made that the King may fall off the hill here in the West. So at least for right now, I think San Jose definitely is going to win this game. But bigger picture stuff for San Jose, I think there's reason to be worried.
I agree. I think the league is secretly rooting for Griezmann just to go nuclear in this game, though,
Oh,
so much. So we'll see if he's capable. Okay, well that's gonna do it for our recap. We're going pretty long here, so I'm gonna have us jump right into Stin here. Stin's picks is making a return.
we're
That's back
back.
too, baby. So let's take a quick break here and take a quick listen to what Stin's got for us.
MLS Day Vuelta. Best Wednesday ever. Lewandowski debut and a sad Mad Messi. The Fire want all the smoke and are coming to play. Miami 1, Chicago 3. Two USMNT teammates square off in Miles Robinson and Seb Berhalter. Vancouver looks to extend their lead in the West while FCC is looking for their first win versus them in club history. Cincinnati 2, Vancouver 2. I spy with my little eye at least 3 2030 USMNT roster players. Kai Wagner returns to Philly, and that's sick. He's here to thwart the ghost of Dante Van Zier. Philly 1, New York Rebels 2. Let's go to the other coast for the João Klaus and John Nelson Bowl. St. Louis has to stay hot with Kareem Mbappe on their side. Big additions like Alex Matan surely will get you there. LA Galaxy 2, St. Louis 2. Son gets his first MLS goal of 2026, and the vibes couldn't be higher. Shaberko is a phenomenal addition, and this backline is looking elite. RSL kind of stinks on the road. I mean, are they altitude merchants? LAFC 3, RSL 2.
As always, Stin, thank you for the energy. Thank you for the passion for these sicko matchups, as always. Some interesting picks here. I mean, I think he's like somewhat aligned with us for the most part.
Yeah.
At least me. I think he's aligned with me like all the way across the board.
You
Except for
picked
the
Ty was
Cincinnati draw.
Vancouver? Yeah.
No, except for Cincinnati draw.
Yeah.
But he did have Chicago beating Miami. I did have the same thing. Lewandowski having the debut. He had Vancouver, Cincinnati drawing that he talked about. He spies with his little eye at least 2030 U.S. Men's national team players in the Red Bulls Philly matchup, which
We got to
not
keep
wrong.
that take.
Quietly, I am also like really glued on Kevin Sullivan now. Like I'm like I want to see this guy develop, and they better freaking play him, or I'm going to lose my mind because he is the best player on that team.
Well, you got rid of Bradley Carnell. Don't forget that. So
yes,
yes, there's room.
And then Galaxy and St. Louis, I also had a draw, so he was aligned with me in that one.
Yeah, the João Klaus John Nelson Bowl is crazy.
No one's ever said that sentence ever.
No.
In the history of humanity. And then he has LAFC taking down RSL. So he noted RSL kind of stinks on the road when he was going through that. So hey, that's a good note. If they've sucked on the road, that's a good note.
We got to take that, right? Also,
his
very
overall record. He
yeah,
had a record update, and he's 29-31.
Well, okay,
is pretty like I mean I thought it was worse. I'll be honest. Like that's not bad.
I'll go a little nerd here. I'll defend him. He's not picking 50-50s though. He's picking 33-33-33s with win, draw, and loss. So having 29 wins and 31 losses is good. That's better than a coin flip.
You're not counting. Yeah, he's going like he's not calling draws even. He's just counting every single game.
Right. Well, so it sounds like it's a losing record, and I guess technically it is, but he's doing better than expected. Right. Mm-hmm. It's better to listen to him than just flip a coin. So
yeah,
you can take that.
Hey, he's our professional. That's why we have him around.
That's why we fly him in. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Enjoy it. If you're sitting at home, you're not going to a game, put on the Goal Zone and just like sit back and
360
just relax.
PJ.
Almost 360. I'm sorry, I'm still on Premier League. Just MLS 360 it up. Enjoy all the action because there's gonna be a ton of it. You might get some really sicko games in here, which is just why we love this league so much. So, with that being said, we appreciate you guys. We will be back on Friday for a recap of all these games, and then a preview of the weekend. With that being said, we'll see you guys next time.
See you.